Hey FCF, we're going to jump ahead a little bit in the book of Ephesians. We were in chapter 2, verse 8 through 10 yesterday. We're going to pick up in chapter 4, and we're going to look at verses 1 through 3. The Apostle Paul starts by saying, as a prisoner for the Lord then, he was in house arrest in Rome. We can read about it in Acts chapter 28. As a prisoner for the Lord, I urge you, live a life worthy of the calling you have received. Keep that in mind. He's writing to ordinary Christians, and he's saying that each Christian has received a calling on their life. Verse 2, be completely humble and gentle, be patient, bearing with one another in love. Verse 3, make every effort to keep the unity of the Spirit through the bond of peace. So let's backtrack a little bit. Paul wants them to know that it is a result of his own faithfulness to proclaim the message of Christ that he himself is imprisoned. So he's trying to get across to them this idea of the calling of God on one's life. It has to be pursued with absolute surrender and abandon. It's worth whatever sacrifice. Even though Paul was incarcerated at this time, he wants the Ephesians to know it's nothing to be ashamed of. It's actually a badge of honor that he would let nothing stand before his faithfulness to proclaim the truth about God and the truth about life. So he says, as a prisoner for the Lord, I urge you, live a life worthy of the calling you have received. Now, what kind of a calling have we received as just ordinary Christians, those that have put trust in Christ and become his followers? Well, you have to go into a New Testament context. When a Jewish teacher called someone to follow them, to be their follower or to become a disciple, it meant that you aspire as a disciple, as a follower, you are aspiring to become character-wise, lifestyle-wise, like your teacher or like your rabbi. So when Jesus would come to somebody and say, hey, come and follow me, in that culture, they all knew exactly what that meant. It meant that they were going to submit their lives to the teaching of that teacher, that rabbi, which in this case was Jesus, so that they could become like him, character-wise, conduct-wise, missionally, motivationally. It was to live life like the teacher himself lived, to have the teacher's character, and to carry out the mission of the teacher, to take his teaching and pass it on to others. This was all included. So when we ask this question, what is the calling that each Christian has that Paul is talking about? That's what the calling is, to become like Christ and to carry on his mission of seeking to see others reconciled back to God in trust. So he says, in light of that, I urge you to live a life worthy of the calling you have received. Be completely, now he's going to talk about our relational conduct. Be completely, first of all, humble. God saved us by his grace. We didn't do anything to earn it. Be completely humble and gentle. Be patient. God's patient with us. We need to be patient with one another, bearing with one another in love. We all have little oddities about our character and conduct, and we need to just give each other some slack. Verse 3, make every effort to keep the unity of the Spirit through the bond of peace. And this is important because it shows that unity within a local church, even unity amongst those that are faithful followers of Christ, it is something that is going to require effort. We have to be patient. We have to be kind. We have to be humble. We have to be forbearing, which means I'm going to overlook little irritating things about you, and you're going to overlook little irritating things about me. Elsewhere it says we're to be forgiving to one another, but we're to make every effort to keep unity. Unity in a local church is critical. The church is depicted as being a body. Jesus gave up his body on the cross to demonstrate his sacrificial love for us. But now the picture that we have of Jesus' church is that he's the head and we are his many-membered body. So we have to function in devoted unity to him, and we have to be congenial and kind and cooperative with one another so that the head, Jesus, his will can be carried out now through we, his many-membered body. The church is the body of Jesus. Each of us are members of it.